I passed! I passed my final course, D435, which some would say is the most difficult course in the WGU MSHRM program. I'll let you know what I think about the course, but for starters, hello, my name is Camila. I have been recording most of my journey going through my MSHRM program. Without further ado, I'm going to be breaking this up into parts so I can answer some questions that I feel like most people would probably have regarding the course and regarding some parts of the program. So let's go ahead and get into it. I do have my computer here. I am going to be looking at it. This is going to help me keep my train of thought. Number one, the difficulty of the course. You will see a lot of people, whether you're on the Facebook groups or you're on the Reddit threads, stating that this course is one of the hardest courses they've had to do within this program. The OA is not aligned to any of the course material, and that it's just an incredibly dense course. And that's not wrong. It is a very dense course. There's so much content that you have to learn. And if you're somebody who doesn't have a background in HR, doesn't have a background in people analytics, or just people operations in general, or using HR systems, then yeah, you might have a little bit of a learning curve to get over, as I did. There was a rumor floating around because the course was so difficult for people to pass on their first, second, third try. I think it was August or September that supposedly the second version of this course was supposed to come out. I did reach out to my mentor. I asked him, please make sure that I'm in section 2 or version 2 or whatever it is, because I want to take the easier version. Ultimately, he got back to me and he was like, look, it's not that there's a second version of the course, it's just that there's a second version of the test. Because I had rolled into the second term, I was actually going to be taking the second version of the exam, is what he said. Hallelujah. Now, going into how long it took me to actually complete this course, it took me one full term from July to November to finish this one course. I even told my fiance, if I do not pass during the first attempt that I take, I'm not going to complete my master's degree, because I was paying out of pocket for both terms. I will not pay an additional $5,000 to roll over into another term just for this one course. So I was willing to take the L and move on from there. If you were following my journey originally from the start of this channel, I was supposed to be doing this in one term. That didn't end up happening. I lived in Hawaii at the time. I was working a full-time job and I moved back to the mainland in between all of my schooling. I did receive an extension. However, I ended up taking 2 trips right in the middle of that extension. So no, I was not able to finish within term 1. So I had to move on to term 2. Going into what helped me pass the course, the way the course was organized was not aligned with how I study best. So I had to find my own ways of doing things. I took C201 before this course. C201 was an absolute nightmare. I made a foot-long sandwich length of my own flashcards from hand. I tried to implement that for this course. The definitions of HR systems, I learned better through the flashcards. And then sections 2 and sections 3, I had to go a little differently because it was very strategic. So I just knew flashcards weren't going to be it. Prior to even starting the course, I did take the PA. I kind of used it to gauge where I was. I did do a lot better on section 1 and section 3 than I thought I would have. I think I got approaching competency very close to competent on section 3 and competent on section 1, just by a smidge. I passed the line. For section 2, approaching competence, but barely. But what truly helped me pass after that was a combination of AI tools, Notebook LM, ChatGPT, and the end of chapter quizzes. I downloaded every single resource the lessons told us to read, told us to watch when it came to LinkedIn Learning. There are videos, you can't download those, so I downloaded the transcripts. I copied the transcripts, I added them into my notes app, I exported as a PDF, and I saved it in my documents. I downloaded all of the chapters that they recommended we read from the text. Also, WGU specific resources. It's just within the lesson and it's a text. So downloaded every single page that I could. that I thought would help. I took all of that information, all those documents, and for each individual lesson, I made a Notebook LM podcast.
Welcome to the deep dive.
It was the podcast with 2 hosts. I edited it from normal version to long version. I did a specific description for each podcast. Generate a podcast for an individual who needs to learn the content for a competency-based exam. Only use definitions as they are used in the text. If you're going to use any type of examples, only use them if they're part of the text. I did not want them to give me some random example and then I go to the OA or I go to the end of chapter quizzes and they're based on scenarios that was actually in the reading. Luckily, it stuck to that and it gave me pretty good podcasts for each individual lesson. Some of them were about 30 minutes to an hour long and I sat there taking handwritten notes. If you work best doing digital notes, have at it. But I personally am cursed with the need to write things down by hand in order to retain the information. If you are a student, which I actually didn't know this, my fiance just experienced this today. He received Notebook LM, Gemini, all the Google AI systems for free for a year. Now, I do want to mention that, of course, AI can mess up. Luckily, when you make a podcast within Notebook LM, or you even just add the information, the documents to Notebook LM, you can ask it questions. It's just a matter of taking responsibility for your own studying and not just taking AI's word as is. As I mentioned, I used the end of chapter quizzes as well to test myself and ensure that I was actually learning the content accurately. The end of chapter quizzes were more closely aligned to the OA than the actual performance assessment was for me. That's what I believe. I used ChatGPT to generate more quizzes. I am the type of person who learns more when I have quizzes to help me. It did help somewhat, though some of them were very, very easy. For example, which of these is a beverage? Water, candy cane, catalytic converter, marshmallow. That's what ChatGPT was doing for me. Some of the questions, yes, that actually helped a lot, but other questions, terrible. I used the PA to test myself regularly. I think I took it like 4 or 5 times. The PA questions remained the same. Yet, because I was spacing out when I was taking it, it actually really helped me and I didn't retain the answers from the previous time that I had taken the test. So it was actually really helpful. I also used ChatGPT to explain to me if I'd gotten something wrong. I wanted to gain deeper insight into why I'd gotten it wrong, why the correct answer was the correct answer, and why my answer was the incorrect answer. It really helped reframe the way that I was thinking about the course content. That was something that ChatGPT was most helpful with. Next, I also want to talk about my support system. My mentor is incredible. When I moved into this program, I asked him specifically, can you please set up weekly phone calls with me? I know you guys do it with the undergraduates. Throughout my program, I would get a call every single week, and it really helped with keeping me accountable and keeping me on track. Otherwise, I just would have felt alone, and it was only like 5 to 10 minute phone calls, but still it helped so much. When I was talking to him about me feeling nervous, feeling like I was going to fail at certain times, he told me to reach out to my instructor, and I did. I actually reached out to her twice. The first time it was prior to me even starting the class. She gave me insight on getting the study guide and going to the cohorts, whatever. And then I met with her again in the middle of having done the course. She gave me the same exact advice that she had given me previously. I did start doing the study guide because at one point with my studying, I was just getting overwhelmed and I was like, oh my God, I don't even know if what I'm studying is even the correct thing. Though I didn't like the study guide because I want to make sure that I'm getting the answers correctly. So I would like to have the key, the answer key, while I'm doing the study guide. But I at least want to be able to reflect on my work to ensure that I'm looking in the correct area, that I'm using the correct terminology for the definitions. They can't give you the answer key. She was like, sorry, it's part of the retake process, so I can't give you the answer key. You can do the study guide and then send it to me and I'll grade it. That is not what I wanted. After I did 2 pages I decided, screw that. I also did try to attend the cohorts, though they were during times that I was at work. I did review the video content of the recorded cohorts. It was information that had already been discussed in the podcasts. Either way, it just didn't help. Now I'm going to get into the OA itself. Prior to that, I do want to discuss just the mental chokehold this course had on me throughout the entire term. The moments that I was spending time with my family and friends and enjoying my life, I felt a lot of guilt that I wasn't working hard enough or I wasn't doing as much as I could to get through this course. It was just obnoxious and exhausting. That, coupled with not feeling confident that what I was learning was enough to pass the OA, was very stressful. My fiance, funny enough, actually took the PA himself. He said, "You've been studying for months. There's no way that you will not pass this test. So if I can pass this PA, you're taking the OA today." He did not pass the PA. I ultimately decided, after taking my final PA, I was at lesson 8 of the final section and there's 12 lessons. I took the PA again and I got exemplary in all 3 areas, and I decided there's no better time to take it than now. So I booked the OA the same day, November 8th. I booked it for 2 hours later, used Notebook LM, I downloaded the transcripts, I plugged it into ChatGPT, and I told it to give me a in-depth summary of the content but break it down into sections so that it'll be easier to understand. I was able to review the final lessons that way. Also, prior to taking the exam, reviewed my notes for section 1 because I actually hadn't tapped into that information for about 3 months. The first question on that exam, I had just seen the answer for it right before taking the exam. I was pretty shocked to see only about 5 to 10 questions came from section 1. While I was in the exam, I had so much test anxiety, and I even messaged the proctor prior to starting the exam, and I messaged them, "I'm scared." They didn't answer me back, of course. When I got to the end, one of the questions was about standard deviation. Maybe it was in the last lessons that I just skimmed over and didn't actually get into. The last time I remember standard deviation was learning about it in C207, 2 classes prior. So there's no way, after not having reviewed that in so long, that I was going to understand that question. But besides that, there was no calculations. There are 3 different versions of every single OA, supposedly, from what people have said on Reddit and Facebook groups and whatnot. Either I got the easier version or I just studied so immensely that I passed. And I felt absolutely nothing. I stared at the floor for probably 5 to 10 minutes. I was numb to everything that was going on around me. And even till a week after I'd received my diploma, I still didn't feel anything about having completed my master's. I finally opened up my diploma and looked at it and finally felt proud a week after I had received it. Now it's hanging up on my wall. But in the moment, and throughout the next couple of weeks after taking the exam, I was just broken from this program and this course and having put myself through so much stress. In deciding whether or not this was the most difficult course in the program, I don't think it was. The course content was actually very fun to learn. I even discovered that I really want to get into people operations. I'd always been interested in HR, and yet I couldn't find where it is that I fit until this last course. Maybe if you didn't enjoy the content, if you don't care about it, then yeah, it might be a little harder for you. The worst part of this course was the emotional toll it took on me. Yet C201 is the most difficult course that I've ever had to do. Now, what I want to say is, if you're struggling in this course, take your time. Give yourself some grace and give yourself some space to retain the content. I'm very glad that I took 6 months to complete this class. I don't think I would have done well otherwise. Not only that, but I also wouldn't have realized that this is the line of work that I want to get into, that people operations is the career for me. But I know a lot of people come to WGU because they want to accelerate through their courses and they want to get their degree as soon as possible. If you're somebody who doesn't have a background in HR, you might have a little bit of difficulty with this course. Rely on your mentors, rely on your instructors. I know I mentioned that she didn't help much, but still, set meetings for an hour every single week to just discuss areas areas that you're not understanding. They don't have the OA, of course, they don't know what's going to be on there, but they can still help explain content and maybe give you questions to help you think strategically and advise on how they might approach a certain scenario based on the course content. I didn't use that, but it might help you. Otherwise, you can always find ways you study best and implement those, just like I had with the AI and the podcasts and all that jazz. But here I am now. I've passed. I'm done. I have my degree. Finally feel proud and excited to have completed my program. The beginning of my YouTube channel is more geared towards the MBA program because that's what I was in, though some of the courses from the MBA program correspond to the MSHRM program as well. You can still review those. If you're looking for more lifestyle content, I have another channel. It's just my name, Camila Legrand. Because my New Year's resolution is to add more play into my life, the ultimate vibe is I'm going to be reclaiming my life, living life for me, not for school, not for work. Feel free to go over there and check that out. Thanks so much. Have a nice day and good luck to you. Bye.